That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? You guys will remember at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in the post-credit scene, after seeing Star-Lord with his grandfather, the screen goes black and the words come up, Star-Lord will return. Well, when? Where? How? Obviously, it wasn't in Thunderbolts. You know, he could have been an interesting member of the Thunderbolts. Now that I think about it, Peter Quill could have been an interesting member of the Thunderbolts. But, I mean, obviously it wasn't in Captain America. As of right now, his name has not been brought up for Avengers Doomsday. Well, now, according to a report that's going around, the next Peter Quill, a.k.a. Star-Lord appearance, could actually be in a Marvel iteration of the Annihilators. This comes to us from the folks over at Superhero Hype, who wrote the following. Industry scoopers claim that Annihilators, and in this case, they're referring to Daniel Rickman. Industry scoopers claim that Annihilators movie, headlined by Chris Pratt as Peter Quill / Star-Lord, might be in the works at Marvel Studios. Speculations about a potential project based on the Annihilators team from Marvel Comics have been around for a while, though the studio's yet to officially confirm the project. Hollywood scooper Daniel Richmond took to Patreon recently and claimed that Marvel is developing an Annihilators movie. If this turns out to be true, it could be an important entry into the reportedly planned next phase of the MCU alongside Black Panther 3 and the X-Men reboot. It just goes on to say that Pratt last appeared in the MCU in 2023's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 by ending with him being with his dad. Now, anyway, they go on to kind of talk about the Annihilators in case you haven't heard of them. In the comics, after Star-Lord's death, so obviously this would still be very different. After Star-Lord's death, Cosmo the space dog decided to form a collective that would prevent galactic wars and protect the galaxy from various threats. The team comprised of Cosmo, Quasar, Ronan the Accuser, Gladiator, which that's a character we've not seen on the big screen yet, Beta Ray Bill, Silver Surfer, and Icon. That's kind of a powerful team.
Yeah. Very powerful
That's
team.
a very powerful team.
Although Cosmo's on the Guardians, so they'd have to rewrite.
Yeah, Cosmo's still with Guardians. Ronan is dead.
Yeah.
But that's never stopped anything in the MCU.
Unless you use the female Ronan, basically, from, what's it called?
No, didn't she die too? From the Marvels?
Oh, maybe.
I can't remember. That was too unremarkable. The
I'm
film.
still stuck on the Singing Planet. I don't know.
The musical planet?
Yeah.
So the lineup would probably be different. But you know what? I think, here's why I like this idea, Rob. I think the character of Star-Lord works best in an ensemble. Leading the ensemble, yes, but you've got to have the right cast of characters around him for the Star-Lord character to really work. And I think something like this, other than a Star-Lord movie or a Star-Lord Disney Plus series, I think this is a good idea. Now, again, I think the lineup would be completely different. I don't expect we would see, although Gladiator's on the table. I mean, Gladiators, we haven't used Beta Ray Bill yet.
I'd love to get a hot toy of Gladiator, to be honest.
He's pretty cool. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. What a great time to be a sports fan. Basketball playoffs are on. Hockey playoffs are on. It is the perfect time to jump into the action with PrizePicks, the easiest and most fun way to turn your sports knowledge into real winnings. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made really simple. Just pick more or less on a few player projections, like points, assists, goals, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money. For example, this week, I've got Jalen Brunson for more than 24.5 points, or Jason Tatum for more than 6.5 rebounds. I love how fast and easy it is to lock in a lineup in just under a minute. Plus, they've got a couple of weekly features, like, for example, Flex Friday. If your lineup doesn't win, you get your net losses back in promo funds. And every Tuesday, check out Taco Tuesday for discounted player projections up to 25% off. So download the app today and use the code Campea to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Campea to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. But anyway, what do you think about the idea of, I mean, again, take this with a grain of salt. And really, we should have brought up the disclaimer thing that this should be filed under the rumor mill, since it's not from one of the studios reporting it. But just for the sake of discussion, what would you think about the idea of us next seeing Peter Quill in an Annihilator?
Well, obviously they would, they talked about James Gunn being in charge of the cosmic part of the MCU, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are kind of all that we got. A little bit of Carol Danvers too.
Yeah.
I would love to see this, and if they're going to bring in the X-Men, let's see the Shi'ar Empire. Let's see lean into all of that, and maybe bring back Ego the Living Planet. I would love to see a trilogy of cosmic MCU trilogy with all of these characters. And it's funny, the people talk about like Shia LaBeouf, the female Silver Surfer that we're going to get in Fantastic Four. I don't think she's going to survive the movie, to be honest.
Either. Yeah.
And I think that we're going to be seeing Norrin Rad joining or being in the MCU, the Silver Surfer.
He'll be the Silver Surfer of
from
another
our universe.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's part of that hasn't been quite understood, but I would love this. I would love this, and I think I love Chris Pratt. It's funny. I went back and I told you I watched Endgame. I watched Infinity War after that, and I had forgotten how funny the scene between Thor and Star-Lord was when they found him drifting through space in Infinity War. They're in each other's face, and he's all Star-Lord's like pretending to speak like this.
Yeah.
It's a funny, and I was like, I really liked Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. I mean,
he was great in the role.
I want to see him come back, and I think that if he was trying to put this team together, there's a lot of potential there, a lot of humor, a lot of because he works both ways. He can be a serious character and he can be humorous, and I think it works really well.
It's funny, when I was sitting down with James Gunn, when we were talking about the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, and you got to remember, back at that time, Chris Pratt wasn't yet Chris Pratt. He was just Andy from Parks and Rec.
Right.
And then they announced that he was going to be Star-Lord. And I remember asking James Gunn, like, how did you come up with that? And Gunn's was like, to be honest, I didn't come up with it. He said, our casting director, and I forget her name. So
Sarah.
I honestly, I wouldn't remember it even if you told me. But he said, from our first meeting, she said to me, I want you to meet with Chris Pratt. And Gunn said, the tubby guy from Parks and Rec? Nah. And then they went on with their casting process. He said a few weeks later, she came back. She said, you're going to meet with this person, but I really want you to meet with Chris Pratt. No. A few more weeks later, James still couldn't find the guy. And like 3 weeks later, she finally said to him, I've scheduled the meeting with Chris Pratt. You're going to at least meet with him. And he's like, fine. He said, because already she had cast a number of the people and they were perfect. So he said, fine, if it'll keep you quiet about this, we'll meet with Chris Pratt. He said, damn it, in 5 minutes, I knew he was the guy. So he said, really, the Chris Pratt casting, that one wasn't on me. That one almost got pushed on me, and I'm so glad it was. But he said, like, immediately, nobody embodied Star-Lord the way James Gunn had kind of envisioned him, the way Chris Pratt did. And I think just because that iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy is now over, it'd be a damn shame that if we didn't get more Star-Lord. And but do you think, here's the big question though. I think for Star-Lord to be relevant, they need to untap more of his celestial DNA.
I think they have to.
I don't think he can just be another Hawkeye. Another guy.
No. I totally agree with you, especially working with these potential collaborators on the Annihilators team, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's why he has to leave Earth. Because it's starting to manifest in ways he wasn't expecting. That maybe he's a danger because he doesn't know how to control what's innately inside of him. He's not ready to deal with that yet. When it starts to manifest itself for something. But like I have this, the Annihilation miniseries. I have the omnibus of it. It's quite good, and the I think it's great. I'd love to see this.
You know what they could do, because technically his father was a Celestial.
Yeah,
you could say something like Tiamat springing from Earth reemerged some energy.
Yeah, did something
because he's part Celestial.
Yeah, so maybe that unlocks the dormant celestial stuff which got turned off in the previous film. So maybe, you know what? The Tiamat thing, that would be another thing they could use that whole thing for. That,
or he was snapped away. when he was brought back by something
That's
to
true.
do with the snapping. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Then it,
you know, where do people go when they've been put out of existence for 5 years?
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? According to the rumor going around by some people online, but it is kind of backed up because this is stuff we've heard whispers about before, and we do know they're bringing back Star-Lord, but Star-Lord may be brought back in an Annihilators film? I don't mind the idea. If they were doing it, who could you see as members of the Annihilators? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.